Well, good morning, guys. My name's Tony Romero. I'm 24 years old now. I'm getting a little bit old, but I'm here to tell you guys a little bit about me. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Probably the first time I speak in Milwaukee. Usually I'm speaking across the country in different states, but I'm very happy that I get to speak here in Milwaukee. So I guess let's just roll into it. I'm going to be a little bit nervous today, so. So really quick, just a little bit about who I am. I'm 24 years old now. At 14, 15, I had a lot of side jobs, restaurants, part-time. I've always been a really hard worker. When I started working, as a kid, when I was in, my high school years, I really was focused on the money, the money, the money, putting in more hours to get more money. And that was really all I cared about. Um, 16, growing up in the restaurant industry, did some forklift. At 17, I became a sous chef. And I wanted to be a chef, actually, kind of being in that industry. A lot of the people that were around me at a higher level, I kind of wanted to be like them. I saw them as leaders. But eventually that shifted. 18 got, pretty heavy into the warehouse industry, which is pretty brutal as far as labor goes, but I've always been a really hard worker, so really succeeded there. And then eventually, when I turned 21, after working a lot of regular jobs, I discovered wholesaling, which that changed my life. So where my entrepreneurship came from a little bit, my mom was a top Mary Kay sales lady in Wisconsin, over 500 people under her. My dad was a DJ at one point, a little bit entrepreneurial, now in business with me. And my stepdad owns Genlin, Liverman, and Reimer, if you guys know, have heard of that local law firm here. So early entrepreneurship, I was making money. When I was in Mexico, I always kind of had that entrepreneurial feeling in me when I would fly out to Mexico for vacations with my younger brother, even at the age of 13, 14, 15. My parents would send us money every single day. And even with the money that was coming in, which was from where they were living, where my grandparents were, was a lot of money every single day. I was still trying to find something to kind of grind and hustle and do something more. So I was making and selling popsicles and bread, not for the money because I didn't need it, but just because I wanted to do something. And I always had kind of like that addiction for work, and I still do to this day. And I'll just kind of skip through that so we can get through this longer presentation. So the day I decided not to go to college, my parents made one of the best decisions that they could have ever done for me was kick me out of the house. College was a really big thing for them. It was the only route. I have 3 step-siblings that are in medical school to become doctors, and I have my brother who's going to be an attorney. So school is very, very important in our household. Kicking me out was one of the best things ever because I got to learn how to do it on my own. And thankfully, I always was in that position, younger, of trying to figure it out on my own all the time. So had to learn things on my own, fueled a fire in me to prove them wrong, and also prove them right that I could be successful. But I learned not to rely on others, to be responsible for my actions, to work harder for myself and my future. At the end of the day, it was all on me, and I had to understand that. So before I found my passion, again, just going to roll through this super quick because it's not really my topic today, but just more on the background. No real estate experience, no sales background. I was scared of speaking in front of a group. I would have never gotten up here, even if it was a presentation in just a simple classroom in high school. I had complete employee mindset. I was just focused on security. I would say no to risk, and I was living the dream, but somebody else's, not mine. I never went to college, obviously. I kind of already mentioned that. And I had no entrepreneurial friends or mentors around me to be able to kind of guide me. So got into real estate, first deal over here in the south side of Milwaukee, 2658 South 9th Place. Really awesome deal. Got it 4 days into real estate. Just kind of pulled a pre-foreclosure list, started dialing it. And I got a little bit lucky. Did definitely put in the work as far as researching for a month straight to figure out what wholesaling was, to educate myself on free platforms, Facebook, YouTube. But again, just got into the business 4 days in, got my first deal, pre-foreclosure. I got under contract right away and assigned it. Made $24,995 on that deal. So we purchased it for 30K, sold it for 55, made about 25. Sold it on my first showing, first day. 3 investors walked through, and yeah, the rest was history. 3 weeks later, closed on it, and I had $25,000 in my hand, and that forever changed my life. So the growth from there, I built a team from day one. My parents did help me with, I guess, like the one thing that I did get from them was a discounted office. I got my first office right out the gate. It was my mom's pink Mary Kay sales office. It was during COVID time, so like very, very early stages, so she wasn't going to be using it for a while. And it was pink, so I had to kind of start in a little pink office in a basement. I slept in my office more times than I can count, not because I didn't have a home or anything, but more so because I was just working so late in the office till 1, 2 a.m., and I'd have to be back at 8 a.m. the next day that I decided I might as well just stay here some days so I can keep going. I was really addicted to the wholesaling space because I had already closed my first deal. I understood what it could do for your life. And then I went all in from day one. $250,000 in assignments my first 6 months, $500K my first year, multiple 6-figure months after. 2022, we did over 1.5 mil. So just kind of started scaling from there and growing. I really understood the business. I invested a lot in mentors. I hired right away. I hired VAs. I hired in-house. So just grew really, really quick. And it was during COVID time, so there weren't a lot of distractions, which for my age was really good. So just a bunch of checks that we have. There's obviously a lot more now, but some of the bigger ones, like I think there's like 25 in there, 45. We just recently did a 72, so we've got a lot of bigger deals that we've done. So things that could have stopped me, I'll kind of skip through that because again, it's not really my topic today. A little bit moving forward, I've now been able to give back. I have students as young as 18, now even 16, as old as 45. I have guys who are crushing it. James here, this is kind of older presentation, so closed 225. That was last year. He ended up the year at 265, and he was a full-time barber. So we made sure that he kept his regular income because he does have kids that go to college and in high school. And then he ended up doing an extra $265,000 wholesaling just kind of on the side without moving his salary in any way lower. Eric Cruz, $23,000 in the last month. Again, this is a little bit older. He's closed a lot more now. Javier, he closed over $30,000 in the last month. Again, still old. He's here in the building. So he's definitely crushing it. Just recently closed a few more deals. I've had students as young as 18. Josh closed an $80,000 deal on one commercial deal, and just a lot more, different checks that they've got. We have a lot more, but just to make it simple. So kind of fast forward after that, we ended up. I found a partner, invested into a software company that we developed, and kind of grew from there. So I have a software development company as well that we have 3 different plans for at the $99, $250, and $500 plan. It's a nice passive kind of business that we've been able to grow. And social media has played a really big role that I'll kind of touch in just a sec. Just some quick words of wisdom. If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded individual, especially you guys that are maybe young in here, kind of closer to my age or even younger. You got to focus on your goals. Keep them to yourself. Just go for it. Because when you tell people that maybe aren't in the same mindset as you, that don't have those kinds of goals, they might turn it down. They might say it's too much risk, and or you're doing the wrong thing. And in your mind, that's going to make you start to think about everything that you're planning to do and overthink everything, and maybe even stop you from following your dream. Dream big. So big that your dreams scare you. Go hard while you're young. You guys that are younger in here, you have more time right now. You can take on more risk. If I lose everything tomorrow, I can, drive DoorDash and eat ramen and build my companies back up. So you don't have, especially if you guys don't have car notes or kids or mortgages, things like that, you can take on so much more risk right now. Less to lose, less responsibility, especially at a younger age. Kind of skip through that real quick. So kind of going into my topic, social media. So you can be a brand, you yourself. A lot of people in here probably don't have a really big brand. I know some of you guys do, especially a lot of the speakers up here. but you can be a brand, and having a brand is so important. And again, I'll go into a lot of these benefits, but everyone should be building a brand, especially right now. It's so easy to build a brand. Organically, we get so much reach right now. But again, I'll kind of dive a little bit deeper. So one of the ways to do it, obviously, is social media. It's a powerful tool where you can reach millions or hundreds of millions of people organically, even billions nowadays. It can open up a lot of doors for you guys. We're in the best time ever to build a brand. All these social media platforms push you organically, especially if you're doing reels and videos. They're pushing it out to an audience that you don't already have, so you can grow your product, you can grow your business, you can grow who you are as a person. People look you up on Instagram more than ever. I'm sure you guys have had conversations where you're like, hey, do you know this person? And the first thing that you do is go to Instagram and look them up, especially the younger generation that's coming up. That's the first thing we do. We go to Instagram, we search them up, and that's how we end up finding people. And I like to always say this, it's not a real statistic, but from my perspective, this is how it is, just kind of based on what I've seen. People make an assumption on who you are and what your life is within like 30 seconds of looking at your profile, because they don't know you, right? If they're just looking you up and they're just looking at your profile, based on the relationships, what you're doing, what you're posting, they're gonna make an assumption on you. I've had that happen where people, I meet people for certain meetings and they say, well, I already know who you are. And what do you mean? And they say, well, I've done my research on you on Instagram, and I've just looked up your profile right before this. So your brand is going to be important. So fast forward a little bit. I ended up investing into a pet grooming salon with my wife. We scaled that through social media. I've spent $0 in marketing to this day. I think it's the biggest, as far as from a brand perspective, we have the biggest brand in Wisconsin. Right now, in the pet industry, we're probably top 10 in the nation as far as the algorithm goes and having a brand. So we've been booked 3 to 4 months out since opening day. And that's just with basic social brand. So what do I mean by that? As I started growing in the real estate space, I started to understand and develop a brand through speaking, through networking, through podcasts, and just organically from the people that were already following me in my entrepreneurial journey. I was able to book out the salon 3 to 4 months before we even opened. I've spent $0 in marketing, and right now we're booked out till January. That's kind of our cap. If we wanted to go a little bit further, there's clients who want to book out a year because it's so booked out. And that's what we wanted to do and create. And all of that came just simply because of branding. We have a 1,000+ person wait list right now. We have a form on our bio in the Instagram page and on the website where people can join the wait list so that any openings open up, you can jump on. So over 1,000 people that we've been able to accumulate. Because of wholesaling, because of real estate, because we deal a lot with data. I love data. I have events. So that's, I love data from that perspective too. So every single contact that I can have in that niche is very important to me. So even building a wait list while we are not accepting new clients is important to me because I have that information of the people that are in that industry that I could sell to later, that we can bring in later for different purposes. I use Reziru, which is my other, my software company, to store data. Data is king. Every phone number ever that has ever called the business for any of my companies is stored forever. And that's because we use, softwares like Reziru to be able to keep that contact information. And then we do automatic text backs for any missed calls. If, let's just say a client canceled for tomorrow, we can generally fill that spot up in anywhere between 30 seconds to 5 minutes just by posting a simple Instagram story. Most of the time it's about 30 seconds to like 2 minutes. It flies so quick. And then we've created FOMO, fear of missing out, by always being booked out months in advance and turning down new clients for months at a time. Right now, no matter what you do, no matter what you try, we just don't accept people. And that's one thing that I like to create within all my companies is that fear of missing out in some way. So let's take a look at the numbers real quick. So right now we have 196,000 followers on Instagram with that account. 4 months ago, this profile had 1,000 followers. So in just 4 months, we've gained almost 200,000 followers. Some of the best videos are 12.7 million, 26.9 million views, and 30 million views. We have countless videos with 8 million, 11 million, 15 million, 30 million, like all these different numbers. And every single video that we post pretty much blows up. They generally at least hit 1 million almost every single time. And it doesn't have to be complicated. We only post twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. A lot of people are really religious about posting every single day, but your content, the quality isn't there. The advice you're giving isn't there. You have to be able to provide as much value as you can in videos, whether you're doing for education, for real estate, or any type of industry. So twice a week, that's it. No, we don't post around that any other time. We want to stay consistent, and the algorithm loves that. So just another look at the numbers here real quick. This is the last 3 months. These are not our highest performing months, but because month before that, we had over 150 million views in just that month. But we had 33 million accounts reached. I mean, imagine what that would do for your business. Regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of what your brand looks like, 33 million views, almost 3 million accounts engaged that were actually going on our profile, looking at other videos, commenting, sharing, sending it to their friends. And then content interactions, we had 4.46. Profile visits, we had 806,000 profile visits. Imagine what that can do for your company. That's why I have a 1,000-person waiting list, because even at 1% of that number, it's a massive number. And just over the last 3 months, 161,000 new followers in the last 3 months. So conclusion on that company, your brand can take off in as little as days or weeks. The dog you see right there, that's actually Giannis Antetokounmpo's dog. We brought him in as a client. I've got Marjan's dog coming in. I've got a dog that did a commercial for Kevin Hart coming in. And it's all because of brand. It doesn't take years. You will learn more from every video that fails. All it takes is one video to blow up. And the best part is it's free. Social media, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can post on there as much as you want, as little as you want. And it can be done straight from your phone and a free editing app. It doesn't have to be professional. And if you want to outsource it, you can do stuff like Brock. A guy like Brock who's in real estate, who has so much stuff going on, that if you guys are in that position, then you can outsource it. There's plenty of companies out there that will do the content for you so that you don't have to, and take your everyday lifestyle and chop it up so that you can still grow organically nonstop. You don't have to be an expert. Everyone thinks they have to be an expert, but you don't. So just jumping in really quick into Romero's Taco Truck, another one of my companies. In 2 years, we have locations now in Wauwatosa, New Berlin, West Milwaukee, West Dallas. I messed up there. Wauwatosa, West Dallas, Greenfield, New Berlin, Fond du Lac, and West Milwaukee, with 2 more coming soon. We've spent $0 on ad spend there. We have 7.6 thousand followers on Facebook. We've had press release, a lot of press releases from Fox, from Journal Sentinel, from On Milwaukee, from a lot of different other local companies that have reached out, or local news sources. And we've made multiple six figures in events, all because of the brand. Also, going back to the pet salon, I've had 3 price increases this year. A puppy is $100, so we're kind of at that higher tier level now, solely because of a brand. Offers coming in every single day from different big companies that want to affiliate, whether it's to sell their product. Right now, just charge per post on the pet salon is $2,000 for 1 post, just for me to post their product. And then Facebook, through Facebook groups, Instagram Reels, posting every day. That's how we were able to scale that up. And again, social has brought us a lot of press. But the brand is important. There's Alex Antetokounmpo, one of the Antetokounmpo brothers that came by to the restaurant the other day, a good friend. So been able to get some awesome people to come by. So benefits I've seen in real estate, because I'm sure you guys like that I've been able to show you in other industries, but a little bit about what it's been able to do for me in the real estate space. So I get to meet investors who have purchased deals or want to be added to our buyers list constantly just from building my personal brand. And understand that Romero's is its own brand, the taco trucks industry. So we have 7 trucks in a restaurant. The pet salon, that's its own brand. Everything is its own brand, and then me as a person, that's its own brand. So I've been able, just through growing on social media and showcasing what we're doing every day, wholesale deals, real estate transactions, I've been able to get a lot of investors who have purchased deals or want to be added to our buyers list. And we've made a lot of money from that, from buyers coming in and saying, hey, what can I buy from you next? And then selling it to them and making a large assignment fee on it. Been reached out by people who are wanting to invest with us for private money reasons, VIP access to real estate events. There's events I go to where the ticket backstage is $10,000, and I just get it for free just because of more of like the influencer role, because of the branding, because I can help push tickets for them. I had a buddy of mine, Carlos Reyes, reach out the other day. He came speak at my last 2 events. Really big guy, has 700 people attended his last event. I sold in 2 story posts, I sold $25,000 worth of tickets in just 2 stories. So brand can be very, very powerful. Backstage access to real estate events. You know, I've met a lot of celebrities, huge investors that way. A lot of people who have mentored me just because of, you know, having a brand. Affiliate partnerships. I've made multiple 6 figures that come with monthly payouts. It's almost like owning real estate without owning real estate. The cash flow just keeps coming in every single month from people using different companies that we recommend via affiliate models. And as you grow as a brand, you'll be able to push more people that way. Free leads of people wanting to sell their house or know someone. I've had tons of people reach out and say, hey, I see you're buying properties. How can you help me? My family's looking to sell. My boss is looking to sell. And we acquire deals that way, and sometimes that's a $10, $20, $30, $40 deal, $40 deal, $40,000 deal, just from a simple message, because they see that what we're doing every single day. Podcast invites nationwide. I've never had to ask to be on a podcast, and I've been on some of the biggest podcasts in the real estate space. I've thankfully been on Brock's podcast, and all that's just simply because of having a brand. That's what it can do for you. You can get podcast invites, speaking engagements nationwide, JV partnerships. I've done a lot of deals with a lot of people who have just reached out. That's probably where we've made the most amount of money, multiple 6 figures, just from people saying, I'm struggling to sell this deal. I see that you're a wholesaler. I see that you're in business. How can you help me get this deal closed? We do the deal together. We split it, and we made 50-50 on, you know, no money in marketing. New students to our program, that's, you know, multiple 6 figures there as well. Business partnerships. I've met my business partner in the software industry through social media, raised 6 figures plus for our events just in sponsorship money. It's so easy to bring in money for our sponsor, for our events, just because of the brand that I have. Sell out personal real estate events. The last event I did over $60,000 in sales, in ticket sales, VIP, GA, and backstage VIP, just from Instagram, whether it's stories or DMing people. We did more sales, but you know, from ads. And then relationships, influencers, investors, NBA players, athletes, business owners, etc. Relationships is my favorite part because I get to grow and network with people that are a lot bigger than me. I get to be in rooms of people that are a lot bigger than me without having to necessarily pay whatever it would be to cost to be in that room. So a few people that I've gotten to meet, honestly, before getting into real estate, just kind of seeing all these different podcasts, educating myself, I never thought I'd meet some of these guys. I mean, Steve Trang on the corner down there, who has one of the biggest real estate podcasts in the nation, some of the biggest investors across the country, Pace Morby, who's like the GOAT of real estate, with over 10,000 students. I got to hang out with him, do a road trip, speak on stages with him, speak across the country, speak at colleges. Buddy Ryan Pineda over there, Max Maxwell, one of the biggest YouTubers in real estate. Guys who are really untouchable, who you'd have to pay, you know, if you want to go out to a game for a basketball game with Max Maxwell, you're paying, I think, $15,000, whereas I just get to hang around with him all the time whenever I'm in the same town with him. Same thing with Ryan Pineda. Want to go golf with him, $5,000 just to hang out with him, and he'll text me and say, let's go get dinner, or let's go get lunch whenever we're in the same city, all because of brand. I've been able to get into a lot bigger rooms. My buddy on the corner out there, 5 million followers, on social media as well. with Carlos Reyes when we went golfing. A lot of NBA players, Alex, Giannis. I was just with, partied with Giannis, had really good time. Alex Antetokounmpo, who's become a really, really good friend of mine. And a lot of other NBA players that I didn't even put up here and have the time to or even have pictures with necessarily. Mamu, Marjan, Packers players, a lot of different people that honestly I didn't ever think I would be in these types of circles, especially at my age at 24. It's like that's crazy to me, and it's all because of branding. It's all because of how you position yourself on social media. Obviously, you have to have some sort of value, and I've been able to create that as well. But without the brand, I wouldn't be where I am. And then throwing my own real estate event. I know a lot of you guys saw Scott Leary here yesterday. He, crushed his speech opening up. He's a really, really big, massive influencer in the Milwaukee market. A guy that would be really hard to even just hang out with all the time. And I've been able to partner with him on events. We go out to his development projects and take our VIPs. We throw our own real estate event. Last event, we had 450 attendees, 26 states that flew in. So people from all over the country were flying in. Just because of brand, we didn't really run any ads or anything heavily. It was mainly all just through Instagram. And social media and Facebook, and it was mainly me selling the tickets just through stories and DMs. So been able to partner up with a guy like him, which creates a lot of credibility. I've had some of the biggest speakers in the nation, to a degree, right, come and speak at my events. I don't pay any of my speakers to come and speak, which some of these guys, Carlos Reyes, I've been to events that I've spoken at where I ask how much they've paid, and it's $10,000, $15,000 to bring him. A guy like Jerry Norton, one of the biggest guys in the real estate space, we've been blessed to have him twice now at no cost. And his fee is probably around $20,000 just to come to speak. And I've been able to constantly do that, and even for our next event, go bigger and better just because of the brand that I have. So growing an account 3+ years ago, I like kind of looking into this because if you look 3+ years ago, 4+ years, you were either an influencer or you weren't. On social media, either you had the following or you didn't. It wasn't like you could just gain it. Now we're in the position where Reels organically are pushing your content nonstop. I mean, look at the pet salon. It grew to 200,000 followers in just 4 months. So it's the best time ever to get in. You can post Reels. You can post videos about your niche. The algorithm will do its work. It'll find people that relate to that niche and push them to your profile so that you can have more clients, so you can grow your brand, so you can grow your companies. But now it's a lot easier. Obviously we have Reels now, So now anyone can become an influencer or grow their brand, both personal and business. I definitely recommend keeping business and personal separate. A lot of people like to kind of intermingle those, but when you do that, it's really hard to eventually separate yourself from that brand. Your companies, each individually, should be their own brand, and then you yourself should be a brand, even if you don't look at yourself like a brand. My personal brand can build any business, and they're all, again, same thing, just kind of separating. And then Google My Business will help you grow your company as well, generate reviews at a fast pace so you can be high ranking at the top. That's just kind of a quick little tip in there. When's the right time to start? Now. I always tell people, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to start, a month from now or 2 months from now, or I'll start later when I get a better camera. And the reality is that you're still going to have to start from scratch. It takes a long time to build a brand. It might take a couple days. You might have those blow-ups. It might take a couple months, but regardless, it takes time. So if you start now, you can figure out what you need to do to get to that next level. Your videos don't have to be perfect. With the pet salon, everything's done from an iPhone and a free app. So it doesn't have to be complicated. We had no experience doing any type of content prior to. We just learned it. So you're going to learn more from the mistakes that you make. But you also have to, just kind of hanging out with some of the biggest influencers in the real estate space, they're always studying the videos. Which one performs well, which one doesn't. It's all data. It's just like when you're running your business and you want to see what's working, what isn't. You just got to look at why this video is performing and why this one isn't, and do more of that. You got to be consistent or it won't work. That's the one thing about social media. So if you can't post every single day, don't post every single day, because if you start lacking and post every single day for a month and then you run out of ideas or you run out of time and then you have to start posting maybe twice a week, the algorithm won't like that. It likes consistency. That's why we stick to the same stuff every single time. Don't delete posts just because they didn't perform well. Learn from them. And I guess I covered all that. And tools. What tools work? Phone camera is enough. Apps like CapCut, that's what we use to edit any of our videos. It's a simple app. It's free. You can download it right from the App Store. And it's easy to use. Even a rookie can use it, and you'll eventually learn. And that's really it. So how to be consistent? Decide what days and times you're going to commit to posting. Set alarms on your phone to stay on track. And that doesn't just mean like, hey, I'm going to post like today. It means making sure that you've got your stuff ready, that you're going to be able to provide that value, provide that value in that video. So you have to be ready to be able to have everything ready and edited. Stick to your niche. A lot of people like to jump around from niche to niche. Remember, the algorithm is doing its work. It understands who it needs to target. As you post more and more, one thing I started realizing is you start posting and posting and posting as long as you stick to the same thing. At first, the algorithm is just going to push it to everybody because it wants to understand who the audience is. But eventually, as you become more consistent with it, you're on the 5th, 6th, 7th video, it starts to niche down into understanding, okay, this guy's real estate. Okay, this guy's restaurant industry. Okay, this guy's a foodie. It starts to understand where you're trying to go, and it'll just do the work for you. The algorithm, the development of it is insane. It'll do the work for you. Use apps like ChatGPT. It's a free AI. It's free online. You just look up ChatGPT, for those of you guys that don't know, to help you come up with ideas that are high performing, to help you come up with hooks. One thing that I see a lot of people doing correctly in the industry is they'll do a video. Let's say you're doing a video for your personal brand. And you say, hey guys, at that point, you've already lost everybody. There's 1.5 seconds to hook people into your video that you have. That's it. I mean, if you guys look at teenagers scrolling, they go like this, and then they go like this, and then they go like this. So if they don't like that video in the first 1.5 seconds or it doesn't look appealing to them, they're gone. And hey, guys, by that point, they're already gone. So you have to get to your hook right away. It's one of the most important things that you need in your video. Focus on videos over photos. Photos will only get pushed to your audience that is existing already, the followers you have. Reels will get pushed to the audience that you don't have. So that's what you need to focus on, videos and reels, that's it. How much time? So the strategic way to grow. This is kind of how I grew my personal brand. More of the, so your follower count has to be much larger than who you follow. I know it sounds kind of dumb, right? Because in real life, you want to be able to network with as many people as you can. You want to be able to, have a lot of people within your network. But in the social media aspect, especially the younger generation, at least to grow a following, your follow count has to be much significantly higher than the amount of people you follow. Because what I started learning when I was growing my brand strategically was that if I was following, let's just say 2,000 people, and 2,000 people were following me, if I follow somebody new, they're going to expect me to give them a follow back because I'm at kind of the same wavelength. But if I'm more of seen as an influencer, I don't have to necessarily expect that. So I won't get unfollowed. It seems kind of dumb, but that's how you grow the brand. When you're, so influencer is generally someone that has a lot more followers or follows very little people. The people that follow you will have a really big impact on others following you. As an example, Lauren Holiday, Drew Holiday, who will miss. She followed me back after having 233,000 followers or some crazy number like that, simply because she probably looked at my profile and saw that other people that she follows, other NBA players, were following me. I've been able to, I really love to network with NBA players. We're getting into syndication next year. It's our next step, getting into raising capital. And I have a lot of great relationships in the NBA.
So I've been really trying to get into that niche heavily, and I've had 7 new NBA players follow me in just the last 2 weeks, and that's really mainly because a lot of other NBA players follow me. So the people that follow you will have a really big role. When people in the real estate space go on my profile and they see that Pace Morby, Ryan Pineda, Max Maxwell, Jerry Norton, all these really big names that are prime guys in the industry follow me, it's an automatic follow, and I grow so much quicker because of it. Speaking engagements, podcasts, those will also help you grow really, really big. If you ever get a podcast invitation, definitely take it. Podcasts live forever. To this day, I get followers from all the different podcasts that I've been on, including Brock's that I did not too long ago. And people will be able to relate with your story. They'll be able to see who you are rather than just seeing a simple profile. Remember, people make an assumption on your profile. People make an assumption on you based on your profile. Tell a story with your profile. I like to say this all the time, especially if you're growing strategically. Don't post like a fan, post like a friend. Because when other people are looking, see, my goal always in the industry was to be at the top. I wanted to network with people that were crushing it, that were, most of the people I get to network with have, hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, or they have, hundreds or thousands of coaching students, or they're doing millions of dollars. And so in order to get in those types of rooms, especially at a younger age, when I was 22, 23, 21, I had to figure out how to kind of fit in that sense. So I always say, don't post like a fan, post like a friend. Whenever you're taking a picture, let's show you guys take a picture with Brock. Look like a friend, not like a fan. Focus on reels. Stories are a better place for announcing over posts because stories will actually organically get pushed to your following. Posts don't really do so well. If you're posting a poster of something, it generally won't. It will flop just because people aren't really interacting with it. If people aren't interacting with your post, they're not going to do well. Some tips and tricks. Link all of your profiles to each other, emails to socials, Instagram to socials. So one thing I always recommend is a link tree in your bio. You need to be able to tell people where to go. I make hundreds of thousands of dollars from students. We'd sell hundreds of thousands in events. We make over 100,000 in affiliates every year. And most of it just works by itself because there's a link tree in the bio. A link tree is pretty much a link that will allow you to put multiple different links on one thing. So they click on that link, they go to a simple website that just has multiple links that you can tell them where to go. Whether it's an affiliate for this, whether it's your event that you have going on, make sure you have one place where they can see everything all at once. I always recommend having a link tree. It's free. You can capture leads. We capture leads, directly to our website via forms. I love forms. For every kind of business that we have, we use forms for different reasons. We create back-end automation on forms. When somebody submits a form, we have back-end automation that works automatically. They get an automatic text that's notified, so that they're notified, so that they know what number we're going to be contacting them from, and we make sure that we get to them as soon as possible because first to lead, time kills deals. And then look up the best times to post. If you guys just do your simple research, go on Google, figure out what the best times to post are. It'll just tell you based on their research on what's performing well in the industry at that time. They'll just give you the information for free on Google. And focus on educating, not pitching. One thing I would say is be reliable, be real, but also don't try to pitch in every single video. Just give value. If you just give value, people are organically going to follow you. They're going to want to know more about you. They're going to want to learn more from you. We all have something to share. We all have something to educate people on and help people learn. That's all you have to show. And the ending. I've saved hundreds of thousands and made hundreds of thousands from social media alone. I've made relationships that will 10x my growth. I get special treatment, early access, VIP access, free stuff, affiliate partnerships, amazing relationships with people who are untouchable in real life, who I probably wouldn't be able to even get a hold of on social media if we didn't have a great relationship. I get free leads, free courses, free food, free a lot of things. I've had over 6 figures in courses just kind of handed to me. I get free advice on how to mentor my students from guys way bigger than me just because of having a brand.
But remember, your reputation is everything. Your brand takes a long time to build, but it can be destroyed overnight. Go out and crush it.
Q&A, yeah.
How much time?
Yeah.
I
The
got-
man's up
I
here.
have an
He's
hour.
delivering the goods on social media. I mean, come on.
Sorry if I bored some of you guys.
No way.
I usually teach real estate, but
We got one here, I think.
My question is, I do some wholesaling on the side, and I do more double closes than assignment of contracts. So my question to you is, at what price point of the money being made do you say, okay, I'm doing a double close? The seller may not like how much.
a wholesale question. So his question was, when you're doing a wholesale transaction, at what point do you do an assignment over a double close? An assignment is pretty much, for any of you guys that are in the wholesale space or wanting to get in, assignment is, so when you're wholesaling, you're finding a property that's distressed, you're getting it at a discount, and then you're assigning it to an investor at your price point because you have a legally binding contract. So an assignment is when you do the transaction and the buyer finds out and knows automatically when they're signing an assignment how much you're going to make as a wholesaler, whether that's 10, 15, 20, 30,000. He's asking when to do an assignment or when to do a double close. Double close means that you're closing twice. In most markets across the country, when you do a double close, you actually have to bring funding to the table. And that stops a lot of wholesalers from doing it because they don't have capital. They don't have the $80,000 purchase price money just to come bring it to funding so the deal can happen in a day. So here in Milwaukee, or at least in our market, there's title companies that use the buyer's money to fund it, so you are able to do the double close. His question was, when should you do an assignment over a double close so the buyer finds out or the buyer doesn't? It just depends. Normally, the rule of thumb is about $10,000 because that's usually when the buyer will say, all right, you're making 15, like you did like nothing on the deal, even though it's our money, right? They shouldn't count our pockets because we're doing what we're doing. But, in their head and the back end, there's just a thought that humanly goes through their mind. Why is this guy making so much money? So 10,000 is generally the rule of thumb. We did a $45,000 deal the other day in the east side on East Mound Street. So that deal probably took us like 6 hours of work. That deal was a double close, and the buyer wanted it really badly. So you're always in control. And that particular case, the reason why in a double close sorry, I'm going all over the place. In a double close, why you want to stay away from it, because as a wholesaler, you have to pay one of the closings generally, because now there's two closing costs. So it doubles. Your buyer is okay with paying both sides, but now you have two closings. So what I do is, if I do a double close and it's a really good deal, if the buyer wants it bad enough, I'll make the buyer pay for both closings. And that's what I did in that transaction. But generally, rule of thumb is $10,000. The $80,000 deal one of my students did at 18, he wanted to do an assignment, and I said no, but he still did it anyways. And the buyer said, you know what, you're making 80, that's fine. I'm making another 150 on this. I don't care. So the relationship is going to be important. There are buyers that just don't care. I'm sure there's buyers in here that don't care, but at the end of the day, at over 10,000, that's when you have to start thinking about the relationship or not. If you don't have a relationship with them, you don't know them, definitely 10,000 or more. Just take the $1,500 hit and do a double close. Any other questions? Yes.
Okay, so you talked a lot, obviously, about social media, but how do you feel about YouTube anymore?
How do I what?
How do you feel about YouTube these days?
I think YouTube is great. I'm not super huge in YouTube. That's kind of where we're going, like with the podcast route. My stepdad, who is an attorney, has a gun channel, which is just like a hobby that he picked up. And in 6 months, he accumulated 22,000 subscribers. And he had his highest performing video hit 3 million views. He's got videos doing like 1 million, 700K, 600K, etc. He hasn't done a video in 8 months, and he still gets an $800 check every single week to this day. He made like almost $40,000 on his highest performing video on one video. So I think it's a really good route to go. But I guess, is your question more like how to grow? Yeah, I think YouTube is the most important place to grow and the place where you can make the most amount of money if you are selling a product, whether that's coaching, whether that's education, because people can really get to they get to know you a lot better because it's long form. There's not just a quick 30-second clip. So I definitely would recommend YouTube. I see my stepdad do it. You can make a lot of money just from doing YouTube alone. It's like the only platform that really pays you just to be on there. And then obviously you can make a lot more money. Jerry Norton, who's a really good friend of mine, came to speak at our last 2 events. I think he just hit 500,000 subscribers on there. He makes $1 million every single month off of YouTube alone. You know, just from everything that he sells. He collects 20,000 new emails. This is a statistic from 6 months ago when he came, when I last spoke to him. But he collects 20,000 new emails every single month just from YouTube, just from all the videos that are existing. The cool thing about YouTube is that once you post a video, it lives forever. Whereas on Instagram, you post a TikTok or a Reel, it's only going to live as long as it lives. Sometimes that's a day, a couple hours. Sometimes that's a few weeks. But on YouTube, I mean, how often do we see ourselves watching a YouTube video that's right on front and it's 3, 5, 7 years old? It'll always live forever, and they'll keep working. I do like YouTube is from the perspective of I've been on podcasts because I still get followers, I still get leads, I still get deals, I still get students from YouTube, from podcasts that I've been on YouTube. Even at a small following, I still get tons of leads from it. Anything else? Yeah.
What about LinkedIn? Do you use LinkedIn at all?
I don't. I think it's a great platform to be in, especially if you're networking very heavily. I'm just like, I just haven't pursued it. I did get on it. I found it a little bit confusing, but I know some guys that are like crushing in the LinkedIn space, and you can make a lot of money. You can raise a lot. It's a really good place to go to raise capital, network with really high level people, big CEOs, things like that.
Will the content there be a little bit different versus Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, I really don't understand that platform so well, so I can't answer that fully.
I got one. Oh, wait.
So, your time, 100% into real estate, and you let, the taco, the restaurant business, and what your girlfriend, your wife does, if you're investing 100% into real estate?
Yeah, so real estate is my primary focus. It's where the most amount of money comes in. It's a 7-figure, company. So real estate's mainly it. So what I did is I partnered strategically, and the only way I figured out how to have good partnerships is by having one that failed. I had a partnership that just didn't work out. We built a JV company. We crushed it, but they just weren't the right partners. We made a lot of money very, very quick because there was 3 of us. We all had experience, but they weren't the right partners. They weren't willing to invest in themselves. They didn't want to invest back into the business. I'm very big on investing back into the business. Like if I don't have to take us out, like in the software company, there's hundreds of $1,000s sitting that we reinvest all the time. I've never ever taken a paycheck from the software company ever. So I'm really big on trying to build companies where it's constantly going back in. Now, from that partnership, I got to learn how to find the right partners. In the food industry, I have 2 uncles and my dad. We're all partners, 4 of us, and because I wouldn't be able to manage 7 trucks in a restaurant. So they're full-time in the business. I always find partners that are full-time in that industry that aren't looking to do anything else. Even if it's just the in-house stuff, I'll focus on the marketing, more of the mentorship, the scaling of it, bringing in more leads and closing them a lot quicker. So my goal is always scaling and seeing 5 steps ahead. And the other, the partners that I have are always day-to-day. So in the food industry, they're day-to-day. My 2 uncles each have 25 years of experience. My dad, who I brought in, I made him quit from his job and brought him into the company and made him an owner because I wanted to change his life. With him, he has 22 and a half years experience in the food industry. So I always find people who are experts in software. My partner is a software developer who's very successful. And then also we delegate a lot. So I have 32 agents in the Philippines right now. We have agents in India, Pakistan that do SEO, that do software development for us. VAs that do customer service. So we're very big on VAs. VAs can do a lot. My labor on VAs is anywhere from $3 to $6 per hour. So it's cheaper labor, and they perform really well, and we track everything on them as well. So I just pick the right partners.
Anybody else? Let's give it up for Tony.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, money.